What's up, guys, and welcome to the Save Continue podcast. My name is Shanee Howard, and with me are Ryan Robinson,
Hey.
Tommy Shelby,
Hey.
Hello.
and we're here to talk about video games. Today, if you haven't been listening to us, we've been playing with format. Our 100th episode's coming up real close.
Yes, next
Next week.
episode.
Next week. And because of that, we've been playing with the different formats, and this week is mine. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a preview of how this is gonna go down. This week we're gonna be talking about video game franchises.
Cool. I like those. I'm a fan of video game franchises.
Before here, I asked them to each pick a franchise, and we're gonna go over a couple of things with that, and then we're
Okay.
gonna play a game of coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Okay.
And at the end of it, we are going to let you know about our upcoming plans.
All right.
So to start off, I picked Pokemon as my franchise.
You know a lot about Pokemon.
I do. Ryan has picked Doom.
I shouldn't have done that, but I did it.
And Tommy's going to be talking to us about Street Fighter. So first, I want to know, what do you think is the best game in the franchise that you have picked?
You
And
asking me or Ryan?
And we're going to go with Ryan first. Unless, Tom, you want to go first. You're super excited about.
The best game? Doom.
Which one?
The new one.
2016 Doom?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I really like that game.
And why do you think it, and what do you like about it, and what do you think it brings to the franchise?
Well, maybe I shouldn't say it's the best one, like, empirically.
What's your opinion?
Because I feel like it's kind of tied, because Doom 2 is also really, really good. But what I like about the reboot is something that you don't see, that I personally haven't seen a lot of reboots to date, which is really what I think a reboot is supposed to be, which is maintaining the identity of the source material while also bringing a lot of new things to the table, and making it feel fun and new and fresh. And that's what I feel like Doom 2016 did, because the game it's still got the fast-paced, frantic shooter action, but it's still it's still gory and violent and visceral and just a brutal experience, just like I remember with the original Doom. And I don't know, it's just, and I like that it's so fucking loud, and there's the guitars and the blood, and it's just a badass game. Now, don't get me wrong, that multiplayer is garbage, but that single player campaign is my favorite campaign of the past maybe 5 years, easily.
Do you feel like more people would agree with you if that open beta wasn't as bad as it was?
No, I think that a lot of the Doom's praise has come from the campaign, and the reception to it. I think that
Also, Snap Map is good.
Snap Map is pretty damn good. Now, I had some problems with Snap Map with before they patched the game. I had a lot of problems with crashing with Snap Map, but as like conceptually and in terms of execution, it's intuitive. It's like very easy to use. I could throw together a pretty great level in the matter of 10 minutes. I even actually made a level for our friend's nephew, where the entire level was messages to him about being nice to his parents.
Yeah, it was pretty cute.
That's really
being
cute.
good to his sister.
Oh, that's so nice.
And I entertained the notion of putting at the end of the level a really difficult to beat boss, but I decided against it. But yeah, so I was able to do things like that, and I've had hours and hours and hours of fun with that game. So yeah, Doom 2016 is probably, I'd have to say, my favorite in this franchise, which is a hard choice to make because I really love that franchise a lot.
And what would you say is the best game in the Street Fighters franchise, Tom?
Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max, without a doubt.
Really?
Yes.
And what makes you
What,
say...
do you disagree?
Oh, no, no, I was actually looking, after I asked you to pick your franchises, I was looking up and seeing the sales
Sure.
of best and worst, because we talk a lot about voting with your dollar rather than going on like Metacritic
It's a good phrase.
or wherever to just get a review. So I looked at sales and that was not up there.
Not surprising. The Alpha series was a spin-off series, but I mean, it's not a mainline game, But I think it's the best game in the series for several reasons. One, it has one of the largest rosters, while still being extremely balanced. And I think it's impressive because, one, the roster count is so big. Two, there are 3 different styles of super meters that you can pick between. So there's Aism, Xism, Yism, right? And that essentially changes how each character plays. So you've got this huge roster, basically multiply that by 3.
Yeah.
And it still feels extremely balanced. Not to mention the World Tour mode, which I think is probably the best way to do single-player content in a fighting game. I've talked a lot about if I were to make my own game, it would be an RPG with fighting, like with the battle system being a fighting game.
I've never played it, so can you go over the you said World Tour mode?
Yeah, so it's similar, right? Like, there's no really story or exposition. It is just fight after fight after fight. But you level up with each fight, and as you level up, can assign new attributes to your fighter. Like, your fighter won't get dizzy anymore, or your fighter can now air block, like things of that nature. So I think for single-player content, that is really cool. You can then take that player into multiplayer, which I think is not very cool. But yeah, overall, those 3 things make it, to me, the best Street Fighter game.
How big is that roster? Do you know? Like offhand?
It's got to be 30-something.
Christ, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, it's every character from Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
Every character that had previously been in the Alpha series, and some new characters that had not been in games before.
Yeah, because can you guess which one was the best-selling Street Fighter?
I mean,
the first one.
No, definitely not the first one.
No.
I'd want to say 2.
You are correct.
Okay.
And actually, Doom 2, which you mentioned earlier,
Hell on Earth.
It was hard to find numbers for Doom, especially because a lot of them were just going by PC sales.
Yeah, man. 666. That's the number.
And then it was really hard to find sites that were also adding in console sales in the newer one.
Sure.
And the first 3 Doom games were shareware, so how do you account for all that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but I did find statistics that were interesting. Between 93 and 99, Doom 2 was the best-selling PC game behind Myst and Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Want to hear something more mind-blowing?
What?
Doom sold better than Windows.
So there are
more people bought Doom that year than the new version of Windows.
Yeah. Man, dude, Doom 2, I remember you get that super shotgun. It's changed the game forever, dude. That super, like, I never thought that I would ever, at the time, I never thought I'd have an experience like that. Like, the idea of, like, a double-barreled shotgun. It sounds rudimentary now, but back then, I was like, dude, this is fucking badass.
It was badass. It still is badass.
Yeah. And the cool thing about the earlier Doom games is this, like, how easy it is to go back to them, and they don't feel they feel timeless.
I've been playing Ultimate Doom recently.
Yeah.
Still great.
Yeah. Doom is badass. I want to play some Doom.
For Pokemon, I would definitely say that probably is it just second generation, but I'm going to say Soul Silver, even because it's just a reboot of Silver. Basically, with new stuff added to it, was probably the best game, in my opinion. At least one I had the most fun with. Versus, like, the first generation, things were a lot more balanced. They added so much more to the Pokemon games that gave later generations like a step to try it from. Like, oh, okay, this kind of worked, so let's see what else can work.
Yeah.
Even though the first generation outsold it, and I think the units I found were 47.52 million of the first generation sold.
Jesus Christ.
And that's pretty impressive for like a Game Boy and those are Game Boy and Virtual Console sales.
It's impressive, but like we also have to remember, that the original Game Boy had such a long lifespan that the install base of that console was insane.
Yeah.
That is true.
It was like from like the late 80s to the mid 90s, I think. Something like that.
I mean, and Pokemon is still massive though, even even if you're just like, even if you like put that kind of like long lifespan, the only thing that beats it is Mario.
Yeah.
But as far as that goes, like there's just a lot of things with the first generation that they just didn't balance out as far as fights and like types and stuff, and there was definitely types that were better for the game than others. I feel like second generation really filled in a lot of those gaps and made it more equal. That way, if you were a bug fan person or a bug Pokemon fan, you could play the game with a bug team if you wanted to, and it could kind of work out some.
Yeah.
But yeah, so since we started in the best, what do you think is the worst game in the franchise you picked?
No.
Shit.
And why is it the worst? And do you think it harmed the franchise in a long run?
You want to go or you want me to go?
You can go.
Street Fighter 1. Either that or 2048. Both are really bad. But if I had to pick one, I'd say Street Fighter 1 is the worst game in the franchise.
They could have made that franchise like dead on arrival, huh?
No. I mean, I think at the time it was an okay game. If you compare it to things like Karate Champ and Kung Fu and similar games of the time, I think it was okay. There are certain things like special moves did exist, right, in the first Street Fighter game. You could do a Hadouken in Street Fighter 1, right? But the timing had to be so precise that most of the time you did one, it was on accident.
Right.
It's just very archaic. There's no combos in it. Even though we've talked about on the show before, combos came about on accident. It's the worst game in the franchise.
Yeah.
Do you think it did the worst in sales though?
I think 2048 probably did the worst in sales. Am I correct, Shanee?
It was 2048 wasn't on the list.
Wasn't that like more? Because was 2048 like an actual? It wasn't like an actual fighting game, was it?
No, it's a 2D platformer where you play as Ken in the future on the NES.
Oh.
Future Ken.
Is he an old man in that game?
Actually, no. Which he should be, but no.
It just kicking so much ass to stop you from aging?
Probably.
Did they at all mention the fact that he has not aged?
Look, dude, I feel like if you have the power to light your fist on fire through sheer will, you could probably defy time itself.
Like, I could be wrong, but I would assume that Street Fighter, the movie, the game, probably sold better than those two games did. Although, Street Fighter 1, I think the only platforms it was available on was like PC and maybe TurboGrafx.
Maybe. I don't remember ever seeing TurboGrafx though.
But do you think it did any harm to the franchise that echoed through the generations?
No, not at all. It was the starting point. It was the jumping off point. Everything improved from there, but that's as it should be,
Yeah, Street Fighter 2 came out. Everybody forgot about Street Fighter 1, man.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What do you think is the worst Doom game?
Doom 3.
Doom 3?
Like, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Doom 3 is
still a good game.
Like, but it's got, parts. It's got parts of Doom in it, but it became Doom 3 was it's
the biggest departure.
Yeah, it's more of a horror game, and the pace was slower, and that's not what I want in Doom. It was like it's so much more deliberate, and it's not something that I was into. And also that whole flashlight mechanic was lame. I mean, they addressed it in the BFG edition, but
Yeah.
even still, dude, like playing that game at launch, there's so many things about it that just didn't resonate with me. It wasn't what I wanted out of a Doom game, and especially considering the fact that at that point I hadn't played a Doom game and like a new Doom game in however long it was between Doom 3 and Doom 64, I guess. But yeah, Doom 3 is by far the worst Doom game.
Still good though, and I'd say for a franchise that has that many games in it, and for none of them to be bad,
Yeah.
is pretty cool.
It was almost Doom 4, but that game didn't happen. So, Doom 3.
Probably what I think is the worst Pokemon game, and I mentioned it last week, and it's kind of what made me think of this topic, to be honest. Is I mentioned like that I love Pokemon games, and I don't think there's ever been like a really bad one. But if to pick, I'd probably pick Black or White 2.
I didn't expect it to be a mainline game.
I mean, if we're doing spin-offs, I honestly don't even mind the Mystery Dungeon because I think it's a fun.
I love Mystery Dungeon actually.
I think it's a
I was
fun.
just about to ask you about that.
I think it's a fun way to add to the universe.
I've
And
played
you know
more
what?
Mystery
You know what?
Dungeon
If
than
we're,
mainline Pokemon.
if we're gonna say if we're doing spin-offs, I mean I still play it every now and then, but Pokemon Go,
Okay.
and that is not because the game is bad, because
Okay.
the game when it first came out wasn't that bad. Actually, I mean, there's a reason why millions of people were playing it. There's a reason why Pokemon Go Fest existed and failed.
The internet.
Yeah, the internet, but also like it's a whole community thing. It's a real life thing. It's getting people walking.
Sure.
It's a way to make friends.
But mechanically, it is inferior to most Pokemon games.
Oh, it is inferior, but like I still think, but it's not supposed to be. I guess like them. It's
Right.
supposed to be its own thing. But when you take away like any sort of actual tracking process,
Sure.
and then when people like, and then they were so late, and they still aren't great at like banning people who like change their GPS like and stuff like that all the time so they can get all the Pokemon, which is bullshit. I know people who do it, and I hate you for it, but I'm also pretty jealous.
It's kind of hard to move to London to get that rare Pokemon, you know?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, but I mean, but that one's probably the worst. But if we're going for mainline games, I'd
Yeah.
say Black and White 2, just because every game since then had really added a lot to the series, but still felt like a Pokemon game.
So, hold on. Just so I'm clear, there was Black and White and then Black and White 2.
Yes, they were the
Okay.
only sequels in the same region, like at that time, and
Not now with that Sun and Moon coming back. Those are sequels.
yes, but I just didn't feel like it really added a lot to the gameplay or anything. Like I feel like Soul Silver and like Heart Gold really. I mean, I know that they were like reboots, sort of things, or I guess or remakes. I don't know what I don't know what really they fall under.
I'd call them a remake.
Yeah, but like Black and White 2 were sequels, and I don't think that they were necessary. I mean, I'm always happy for more Pokemon to play, but
Sure.
most of the Pokemon games I buy at launch and like get really into. Black and White 2, I waited like
Yeah.
6 to 8 months afterwards, and I was like, I'm out of the games. I'll buy this, which is nothing that
I guess.
yeah, I guess I'll play some Pokemon. Yeah, so that was kind of on there, but yeah, definitely for doing spin-offs, I like the mystery dungeons. I like Pokemon Snap was boss. I didn't really play that much Pokemon Coliseum, and I don't think that really hurt. I think
Well,
a
do
lot
you
of
play Stadium?
no. Is that what I'm thinking about? Is it Coliseum?
No, there's both. There's
Okay.
Stadium and there's Coliseum. They're two different games, but they are very, very similar to each other.
Yeah. Okay.
What was Hey You Pikachu?
Is that like Hey Pikmin?
I don't know. I don't know. I do remember there was a game called Hey You Pikachu, and I have no idea what it was about. I do think though that they could very easily make Pokemon Snap a mobile game.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be a good AR game, but isn't that sort of what Pokemon Go is?
Oh, it was a Nintendo
No, because
64.
you're
It was a
catching
Nintendo.
them there. This time you're just picturing them. Not photographing. I didn't mean to say picturing.
It
But,
was a
yeah,
Nintendo
you
64 game, which I never had a 64,
Okay.
so I didn't play it. but it was one of the only 2 games that utilized N64's voice recognition software.
Uh-huh.
Allergies.
Yeah, so basically it looks like you're just trying to go through like daily activities and get like Pikachu points, and if you reach a year, then your Pikachu has to be released. Okay, that's the game.
Okay.
Didn't play it. I don't think it really affected the series because I've never heard anybody else bring it up. I don't think I've ever talked about it. Like, I mean, I've been aware that
I'm actually surprised that I knew what it was. Honestly.
Yeah, I've been aware of it, but I just never got into it. So, and then this is a fun question that I like to think about a lot.
Okay.
If you could pick any game in the world, like not change the gameplay or the mechanics, all you're gonna do is reskin it to be a Doom game or a Street Fighter game, and it doesn't have to be in the genre that they are in. What would it be? Because I can go first. Okay. I've been thinking. I think if there was a Monster Hunter game reskinned as a Pokemon game, I would be so about it. I know you'd be feeling really violent to Pokemon, but I'd be pretty about it.
Yeah. I would take Doom 2 and I'd reskin it as a side-to-side brawler.
Wait, I thought we were taking a different game and making it into a game of the franchise.
Okay, then I would take Alien vs. Predator and make it a Doom game.
Which one? There's like countless Alien vs. Predators.
Not the. Let me rephrase that. The arcade brawler, Alien vs. Predator.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's a good ass game.
That is a good ass game.
I mean, wasn't Doom's originally supposed to be an Aliens game?
No, it wasn't heavily inspired by Aliens, but no, it was not.
Yeah, I would take that game and put the Doom guy in it. And yeah, I think that would be neat.
I'm probably going to give the most boring answer because it's within the same genre.
I don't know, mine was pretty boring.
But I would reskin Rival Schools as a Street Fighter game, which they're already similar. They already share one of the same characters. But that gameplay...
It would be like Street Fighter EX?
No.
Oh.
Because... like, people call the EX series 3D, but they're not really 3D, right? Rival Schools is 3D. You can move around. It's 2-on-2 with, like, your support character is just that. It's a support character. It's not...
you don't
it's
play
not
them.
Right. Which I like. I don't know. I just like a lot of the systems for Rival Schools, too. You know, the fact that you have that support character there changes things quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think that game still looks good today. I played that game last week. Mm-hmm. That game still holds up. And yeah, like Street Fighter is kind of like ingrained into that series.
Yeah.
You know, I think it would work really well.
Rival Schools is also Capcom, right?
Yeah.
Same developer.
I don't know that. Well, I mean, there's been a lot of Street Fighter developers. Yeah. The main one that people talk about is Dimps. I don't know that Dimps made that. I'm not positive. I kind of doubt it. But like, yeah, I think it'd be Rival Schools. It would work extremely well, and I think it would hold up today. And we've already seen one Street Fighter character in that visual style. Looks fine.
I'm just wondering, like, with Street Fighter, you know, which characters would be the playable characters and which ones would be the support? Or is Rival Schools like they're all playable and like you choose one to play? And then
yes.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Because I think it would be cool, like, you put Ryu and Ken together, and then you call Ken in there, and both of you do Shoryukens.
Yeah, and Rival Schools works that way, right? Like, you can pair any two characters up. Some of the support moves are just kind of generic, boring that you can do across all characters. But if you pair up with a certain person, you'll do something more flashy.
Or like where you do a Shoryuken to a guy, knock him up in the air, and then Ken come out from off screen and do a Hurricane kick.
Yeah,
that'd be neat.
Be good stuff.
Yeah, sounds like you got a good game on your hands, Tom.
Oops.
And is there any games in your franchise that you think would do better as, like, also saying, like, similar thing, reskin to be another game? Like, it'd be like original IP or like part of another franchise, and you think that would be better received?
That's a really good question.
Like, do I think Doom would have been better received if it like
If it
weren't
was a Wolfenstein game or whatever,
Oh yeah,
you know.
I wonder.
Shit, man.
It's hard to say
I mean, it's all just opinions and thoughts.
It is hard to say.
because like
I think that Street Fighter Cross Tekken would have done better had it not been a Street Fighter or Tekken game. Had it been its own fighter,
Yeah.
its own IP, I think it would have been better.
it's hard. To
I would have liked it more without... Because, like, when you take two games like that play so differently from each other,
Yes.
right? And you water down one version, right? The Tekken guys play like Street Fighter guys. you
Yeah.
know? Only they don't have projectiles, so that's weird.
Yeah.
And you implement this weird gem system that nobody likes because we haven't seen that in a Street Fighter game. We haven't seen that in a Tekken game. If it's just a new fighter that nobody has any preconceived notions about, I think it would work well. Now, you saying what franchise would I tie it to? Not a specific one. I think it'd have to be something completely new. But if you'd, not use those IPs but had those same mechanics there, I think it would have been fine. People probably would have liked it.
With the original Doom, I don't know. It's hard to say because that game kind of blew up right away. Now, if I did pick, I think I'd probably do well to kind of do like what Tom did and pick an entry there, and I'd have to go with what I feel is the weakest entry, which is Doom 3. I think that if Doom 3 had been I don't know, like just another game altogether, like if it didn't have the Doom name on it, I think that I personally probably would have been more receptive to it.
Well, and I think that's easier to do, right? Like, you could take Doom 3 and put it in, like, the Dead Space universe or the Alien universe, and it would have probably been better.
Because I think that, when you... Like, Doom comes with certain expectations, I think. And I think that, subverting expectations can be a good thing, and sometimes it can be a bad thing. I think that subverting expectations where Doom is concerned... Well, I think in that particular instance, it didn't work out so well. Mm-hmm. But I think that if it were part of another franchise, or even if it were like the start of a different franchise, I think that my opinion of it would have been different. I just went into it looking for a Doom game, and I didn't get that. So, but like anecdotally, if I were thinking back to Doom 3, and if it weren't a Doom game, I probably would think back on it and be like, hey, that was actually a pretty decent game.
Yeah, people like Doom 3.
Yeah, it's not a bad game, it's just not a good Doom game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've had like a really hard time thinking of an answer for like the Pokemon series for this question. Just because, like, as I stated before, like the only franchise that like beats Pokemon in sales is Mario. And it's like...
Well, there's other franchises that beat Pokemon in sales.
Really?
Yeah, there are many games that have sold better than Pokemon. Many.
As like a franchise as a whole?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because I'm thinking like...
If we're talking like individual games, like Pokemon's pretty down there.
Oh, not individual games.
But franchises, that's a good question.
I'm talking about sales as a franchise as a whole.
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know.
Probably I think the Pokemon Ranger games could be
Which ones were those again?
They're like they're the DS ones. They normally came out I feel like alternating times to the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I feel like they could have been reskinned to something else, or even like its original IP, and they could have like actually had a name for themselves instead of just being like a Pokemon game, because the mechanics of all of those are pretty sound. They all work well. I mean, there is quite a bit of story, and obviously it's driven by Pokemon, but I feel like they could do some sort of other like pocket collector monster thing.
Digimon.
I don't know if any Digimon game is gonna like outsell.
I know that people really like those Super Sleuth games.
Yokai Watch.
It's funny because like it's a weird thing, right? Because I think that like Pokemon Ranger was called.
Yes.
So I mean, without really knowing a whole lot about it, I bet you that you could take whatever's in that game and could have made like a completely like a new IP out of that, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, maybe that was a consideration. and maybe there's like, well, we should probably put the Pokemon name on there just to make sure people buy it. You know, I mean, I don't know anything about that game, so I couldn't say for sure. But I mean, it's possible that game started off as something else, and then later on they were like, we should call it a Pokemon game.
Sure.
Kind of like
Fighting Force would have sold better with Streets of Rage on it.
yeah. Although Fighting Force was a badass game.
Yeah,
Fighting Force 2 not so much.
So I guess like just kind of bookend our stuff on these franchises. What's some fun trivia you know about your franchise?
Oh, I know some fun trivia about mine.
Yeah, go for it.
I actually just learned this yesterday. So, the guy, you've probably seen the cover of the first Doom game.
Yes.
It's got the Space Marine. He's standing on top of the rock, not Dwayne Johnson, but an actual rock. And there's he's got the demon holding one of his arms, trying to drag him down or whatever. So, from what I understand, what happened was they hired a bodybuilder to pose for those shots, and they couldn't get someone who could. They couldn't get him they couldn't find any poses that would work, and they were running out of ideas. So they did a bunch of shots, and none of them worked. And from what I understand, and keep in mind, I just learned this last night, so I might be a little hazy on the details, but
Were you drunk?
no, I actually haven't had a drink in a while. But the pose that you see on the cover is actually based on a pose that John Romero himself did, and the bodybuilder that they hired was actually holding onto his arm and in the pose. And so I'm pretty sure that the Doom guy is John Romero. That's all I got.
No other fun Doom facts? Trivia?
Not really.
I know Tommy has a bunch.
For Doom?
No, for Street Fighter.
I actually don't have a whole lot, man.
Unless you want to add to Doom. If you know, you can.
I know a lot of the music for Doom, the earlier games, are different old rock songs, metal songs specifically played either slower or backwards in some occasions.
Actually, the first level song is based on Judas Priest's Painkiller. I know that one. So there you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot of Doom trivia.
That's fine. It wasn't your franchise.
Even Street Fighter trivia, like weird things about Street Fighter. There's not a lot out there that I could tell you that I don't know. Like there's the fact that Street Fighter 2 unintentionally invented combos, right? That was a bug in the game that ended up working to their advantage, and we've now seen implemented in almost every single fighting game. Which is probably my favorite thing about Street Fighter.
Street Fighter the first one? Super Street Fighter 2 was the first one that actually counted combos.
It's the first Street Fighter to count combos. Is it the first fighting game to count
No,
combos?
I don't know.
I'm not positive.
No, I don't think so.
So in Street Fighter 2, the original arcade version, which if you go back and play Street Fighter 2 now on console or even later arcade versions, it's gone. There is when you win a fight, the character says something. Like there's the end screen with the character portraits and they're saying something. Right?
And one of them looks all beat up.
Yeah, Ryu says something about a character whose name escapes me, but it was thought to be a secret character in the game.
Dan Hibiki.
No.
Okay.
It was thought to be a secret character that you could fight in the game, and this rumor went on for years and years and years.
Noob Saibot.
No, but it is similar to one of those rumors,
Okay.
right? It'd be like, well, if you beat this guy in a certain way, like certain amount of perfects
Yeah.
in a row in the arcade version, you would then fight the secret character. That guy did not actually exist, but that guy is what spawned Gouken, and Gouken eventually became a playable character in the series.
Cool.
I wish I could remember the guy's name. I can't. I tried to look it up while you were talking about Doom.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. There's not a whole lot though. Like I'm sure there is a lot.
Yeah.
But like not that I.
It's funny though because you kind of, like that's the sort of thing that you kind of just happen upon, right? Like
Yeah.
you don't really. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people who go out of their way to like find that stuff, but
Yeah.
I've always like everything that I know about Doom, I kind of just happened upon it. Like that thing about the about what I was talking about with the
Romero's
cover, and then that thing that I just mentioned about the music from the first level of the original Doom. Like that's just stuff that I just happened upon. I didn't seek that out. Although I bet you that if I were to crack open that Doom Bible, I'd find some pretty interesting shit in there.
Yeah, the Doom Bible. I'm planning to check it out on that. Everybody should read that. Also, Masters of Doom.
Yeah.
In Street Fighter versus X-Men, on the character select screen, if your cursor is in the top row and you hold up, you can play as Akuma.
Yeah. Akuma's a cool guy.
But I think I think a lot of people knew that.
Hey, so you mentioned in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, which is a game that we both fondly remember. You mentioned how like none of the Tekken guys have projectiles.
Right. Few Tekken characters have projectiles. Very few.
I can't remember. There's only one that I can think of that actually did. But anyway, I mean Akuma's in Tekken 7.
Yeah.
He still got his fireball.
Sure.
Apparently, it still works okay.
I think a lot of people also know this, Shanee, but like the boss names were switched
Oh yeah.
in the States. So M. Bison was originally the name for who we know as Balrog. It was a play on Mike Tyson.
Because he does look like Mike Tyson.
Yeah, his name was Mike Bison.
Yeah.
They switched that around.
Michael Bison.
What we know as M. Bison was originally Vega.
Was it accidentally switched, or was it switched so like
It was
Mike
intentionally
Tyson
switched
wouldn't
because
like
Mike Tyson had a problem with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be actually pretty cool with it. But
Yeah, M. Bison is actually Vega.
Yeah. So who was Vega?
Everything was kind of swapped.
Was Vega Balrog?
Vega was...
It's weird that they just.
I'm
didn't
not sure.
It's weird that they just didn't change his name and instead they like switched around a bunch of
Yeah,
names.
they basically rotated the 4 boss names.
As far as Pokemon trivia goes, I think.
I feel like I know more Pokemon trivia than I do Street Fighter trivia.
Well, I mean, I just like.
I know
have,
like zero Pokemon trivia.
Well, you know, like Missing No. Everybody knows Missing No.
I don't think I do.
So Missing No is like...
Wait, does
So like there had to be a certain amount of creatures, right,
Uh-huh.
for the original Pokemon games.
Uh-huh.
They only had how many original Pokemon are there, Shanee, in the game?
151.
Okay, so there's 151. Let's say they had to have like 155 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So there was there was a few to make that number hit its quota for the game to properly work, right? So there was, and one of those is Missing No. It stands for missing number whatever. Each creature was assigned a number.
Okay.
And there is actually, I think, 2 ways of catching Missing No, which is not a real creature. You can play as Missing No. You can then take Missing No and transfer him into other games like Pokemon Stadium. Missing No is a thing that exists. When you see him on screen, it's just like this garbled image.
Yeah.
And where the name should be, it's Missing No.
Yeah.
And I think that there
Missing
was
No.
like I remember there being a bunch of rumors like if you gave the Missing No certain items, it would turn into like a Kangaskhan or.
I don't think any of that is true.
Yeah, I never tested any of it, but I never got a Missing No. So.
Yeah.
We should test that.
Another fun. I think this is fun. So like the number that Pokemon are is not necessarily the number that they were like created on. They quite often make Pokemon and then reserve them for later generations.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Also, like Clefairy was almost their mascot instead of Pikachu. I think Rhydon was the first Pokemon ever made, I believe. And then I've mentioned it before when we're talking about, I think like when we talked about video game like myths and urban
Yeah.
legends about the Lavender Town making the kids like kill themselves, so they changed
Yeah.
the music on there.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
So let me get this straight. So in every Pokemon game, like, cause in every
There you go.
oh
So we're,
That.
you can't see it, but we're showing Ryan what the Missing No looks like. It's
okay,
just
there's even some fan art there.
there's pillows of it.
Pillow-
I kind of want one.
Oh, that's weird looking.
Someone put it in Pokemon Go. That's pretty funny.
So every time a new Pokemon game comes out, there's of course there's like new Pokemon that weren't in the previous versions.
Yeah,
previous games.
because
So
you're opening up a new region, and each region has new Pokemon to add.
what I mean to ask is those Pokemon that are in the new Pokemon that are in the new at the time new game, those Pokemon have actually technically existed for years, probably.
Yes.
That's neat.
Oh, it's just like also they just explain it by like, hey, you're going to a different region. And like your region doesn't have these Pokemon. Like
Now it makes me wonder how many Pokemon that they have that haven't been in games yet.
there's probably quite a few. I normally only hear or read about like say 10 or less that
Yeah.
were like, hey, this is supposed to be in this game, or they've had it drawn out, but like it didn't fit for balancing, or they wanted to save it for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, another like, so Silver and Gold were actually supposed to be the final Pokemon games. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, and
We don't like money anymore. Let's just get this over with.
But I mean, with like it just continuing to blow up, they're like, well, fuck it, let's just make some money.
Yeah, like who wouldn't?
Which I think it's funny to even think about now. There not being any other Pokemon games besides those two.
Right? Like
Two-
man,
two
love me some of that
generations.
Pokemon money.
Um,
Hell, I'd take Pokemon Go money.
I had more written out, but but I left those cards at home and I'm blanking.
That's
so.
okay.
In that case,
Like I've learned more pieces of Pokemon trivia in this past few minutes than I've ever known in my entire life. So, I mean, I now know what a missing no is.
Yeah.
I now know that there are Pokemon kept in some secret Pokemon vault. I know that.
The Disney Vault.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Soon
kind of
enough.
cool. Soon enough, yeah. At some point, right? I think that at some point there will be.
That Disney will own everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to.
Sure. Why wouldn't they?
Although, that'd be dumb. I was thinking about a crossover between Doom and Pokemon.
You think that Final Doom was supposed to be the last Doom game?
I think that they called it Final Doom just because it was supposed to be the definitive version of that game. That's what I think. Like the final version of Doom.
But it's not just Doom. It's not Doom 1.
Yeah, I know. It's a good version. It's a good version of all that stuff.
Yeah.
Really like Final Doom. I had that on the PlayStation 1 for a little bit. I would love to go back to I would love to take 2016 Doom to Ryan in 1993 and show him that game.
Your head would explode.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that I think it would instantly turn into 2016 version of Ryan, and you just live your life from there.
Yeah, but by the time I got to
Back to 2016.
by the time I got back to 2016, I'd be like fucking insane.
Ryan, what's your favorite thing about Doom?
This is gonna sound really fucking corny and hacky or whatever, but I think that when I think about the whole games is art argument, my mind does often drift back to Doom.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
because I think that there's for lack of a better word, I think that there's a lot of elegance in the simplicity of Doom, and I think that when I think of video games, Doom enters my mind first, and I think that Doom has a lot of what I would consider to be some of the really core characteristics and emotional qualities that make a video game, and I think that it would be really easy to dismiss Doom on a surface level, because you look at it and it's just a mindless run and gun
Yeah.
experience, you just go from one room to another blasting guys. But I think that there's
Blasting some dudes.
I think that there's like a lot of artistic genius behind Doom, especially considering, back when the first Doom was made, back when teams were like less than 10 people, like a lot of cases they were like less than 5, and to see a game that amazing come out of just a few people, at that time, I just consider it to be. I think Doom is, in my opinion, now that I think about it, that question of, what is a perfect video game? I consider Doom perfect. So,
what is that quote that Romero has about story in video games? Like, it's something about like story in video games is like porn, like it's there, but like it doesn't need to be, or something like that. I don't know.
I mean, and someone argue the opposite, but
yeah.
I mean, I guess I see what he's saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like a good story in a video game, but at the same time, I do really like Doom, and like I couldn't care less about the story of any Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the newest one to come out, like I don't care about the story.
Sure.
I mean, it's like,
well, and they know you don't care about the story, right?
And,
like from the beginning, they know you don't care about the story.
Yeah, and I think it's written in a way that indicates that.
The quote is, "Story in a game is like a story in a porn movie. It's expected to be there, but it's not that important."
Yeah.
Thank you, Shanee.
But yeah, I consider Doom to be a perfect video game.
Would you consider it a perfect porn?
Yeah, if I'm in the right mood, I guess.
Just like Doom guy humping a cacodemon.
They've got big mouths.
Where do you put it,
That giant mouth.
I guess.
All right. So I guess question is, do you?
What? Why do I like Street Fighter? Mm-hmm. I think that if you are a fighting game fan, whether you like Street Fighter or not, you owe every fighting game you have to Street Fighter. Street Fighter 2.
So it's a respect thing.
Yeah, but on like such a crazy level. Like Street Fighter 2 didn't create the genre, but it's what made it what it is and what made it a staple. And then we saw fighting games die in the early 2000s. They weren't selling well. People were putting them out. Mortal Kombat, Deception, fucking these were all terrible games. And then Street Fighter 4 brought it back to the mainstream again. Street Fighter is the reason that genre exists, and it's the reason that it survives.
Like, it's still in arcades.
Yeah, like whether you like it or not, if you're a Tekken fan or a Blaze Blue fan or whatever, like you owe those games to Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like Pokemon just means childhood to me, like in its purest form. It's
comfort food.
It is, but it's also, I guess, comfort food of video games. You know what? I definitely appreciate that because it's so exciting, like getting a new Pokemon, and then you form such like strong attachments. Or at least I have, and I've like spent so much time making like these different teams and like every generation, and like even the expanded medias, like the TV show and stuff like that. I still cry on that Butterfree episode of the original Pokemon TV show. It's a lot about growing up. It's about like conquering the world with a friend, and you're always gonna have like a friend and a team and a pal, and it's really encouraging to feel like you are in charge of something, but also getting help from these like little creatures. And I love it. I mean, obviously I'm not alone in this thought. Yeah. And the fact that it's so massive in its genre of games and it can reach a bunch of different people to kind of all come together for this main thing, I think is so nice. Cause like there's so many, like even people who are just like casual gamers or consider themselves as that, I feel like almost everybody has played at least one Pokemon game, whether it even be Pokemon Go. And even if you don't, even if you don't know Pokemon, I feel like most people in like, say, let's say like like first world countries can name a Pokemon, or at least Pikachu,
I mean,
or,
it's getting to that point.
recognize that recognize it.
It's
Yeah.
getting to that point of like Mickey Mouse, Superman. Like everybody knows that shit.
Yeah.
You know.
It's funny because a lot of the feelings you have about Pokemon are actually the same feelings I have about Terminator 2.
They're
Basically
very
the
similar.
same thing.
They're very similar. You know, what's funny is like, you know, you asked us what games are we knowledgeable about.
What franchises?
Franchises, right? Like, I don't consider Street Fighter to be my favorite game, but I do love it.
So, with that, we're now going to play a game that I have named, and it could be poorly named, Shoulda, Woulda, Coulda.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
So, I'm going to be asking questions that about franchises that we all are aware of.
Okay.
And the questions are going to have either should, would, or could in there.
Okay.
I couldn't think of a better name. Made it up this morning.
Right on.
I was going to do Shanee's Trivia Corner, but that was lame.
Mm-hmm.
That was lamer.
Sure.
That was really lame.
What would you do?
Yeah,
And
that's a good show.
And then and whoever wins the trivia can go either first or last in our ending segment.
Huh.
You get to choose. And I'm going to do it like not ask. I'm just going to put the question out there, and either you can yell at your answers or y'all can be gentlemanly and say somebody else can go.
I feel like my focus is going to be kind of fucked up because I really got to pee.
I just got like turn down Ryan's volume. Answer the question.
All right. Are you ready, gentlemen?
I was born ready.
Yeah. I got to pee, though, so let's get this rolling.
Just pee.
All right, hold on.
This one has two possible answers, and some of these questions are gonna have like a follow-up question or a follow-up trivia that you can answer that are not gonna have should, would, or could in it.
Okay.
Are these questions with like a definitive answer?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
What genre would the original Halo have been if they followed the original plan?
God, I don't know shit about Halo.
2D platformer.
No.
Strategy game.
What kind of strategy game?
RTS.
Yep. On Mac, and then
On Mac?
yep. They were in talks with Steve Jobs about putting it on Mac as an RTS game, and then on consoles it was going to be a different genre.
I only said it because of Halo Wars.
I mean, not like completely different genre.
Point, Tom.
Yeah.
Point, Tom.
Put that on the screen, Tom.
No.
On consoles, it's going to be third person, not first person.
Oh. Okay.
What would have been Conker's Bad Fur Day original target audience?
Children.
Yep.
The first game Conker was in was Diddy Kong Racing, and he was like a friendly little guy, not...
Yeah, not a drunken
Yeah.
pervert.
Yeah, it was really supposed to be a really innocent family fun game.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know. Point,
Tom.
Tom.
This one's a pretty easy one, but it does have a follow-up that may not be as easy.
Okay.
So we've talked about this one. What game should have Devil May Cry been originally?
Resident
Evil.
Evil. God damn it.
All right.
Point?
I'm going to say that's a tie
Oh.
on that one.
No, that was.
But I'm pretty sure I told you that.
You didn't tell me that.
How many different... I don't know how many different games were planned to be Resident Evil 4?
Wait, what?
Devil May Cry was not the only game that was originally going to be Resident Evil 4, but then changed or scrapped. There was-
5.
No.
2,
No.
12,
No.
11.
No.
9,
No.
8,
3.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That reminded me of like you just like someone just like pushing all the buttons on the elevator.
You know what? It was 4. I thought it was,
Nailed it. Point,
No,
Tom.
not getting that one.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
No one gets a point on that
I
one.
mean, I said it.
He did say 4, to be fair.
So I
Are
feel
you-
like I should be...
Okay.
He did say 4.
Thank you. I'll take my point.
What franchise should Sleeping Dogs have been a part of?
Oh, True Crime.
Yep. Also, it had another original name. Can you name it?
True Crime Hong Kong.
Another one besides that one. There was one before that.
Hong Kong.
Well, there's
Phooey.
Triad Wars, which is what became the MMO.
There, as
Not the MMO. Yeah, MMO.
I don't know, man.
Black Lotus.
Yikes. Point
Ryan.
Tom.
What animal could Sonic have alternatively been?
Oh God, I watched something on this like a week or two ago, and I can't remember.
A Wolverine.
Rabbit?
Yes.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
I was close.
Wolverine. What game franchise could the original Pikmin have been a part of?
Harvest Moon.
No, it even had a name in the franchise originally.
Pac-Man.
Pikmin was always Pac.
Pikman. Fuck, dude, I don't know. Star Fox?
Metroid.
I don't know.
All right. I'll give you the franchise, and I'll see if either of you can guess the name.
Okay.
Mario.
Super Mario Sunshine.
No.
Super Mario Galaxy.
You got the first two words right.
How
It's the
would it be
last one.
Galaxy? Galaxy came out after Pikmin.
Look, hold on, man. I'm not the Mario expert here, okay?
The first two words are correct. I'll
Super
give you.
Mario Brothers.
RPG? Definitely not.
Super Mario is correct.
Super
right.
Mario something.
Super Mario.
Sunshine.
I s-
64.
Super Mario.
It's not 64.
Kart.
All right. Meh. Super Mario 128.
What?
64.
I know. Shut up. Next question. Point Tom.
I know about 128. Pikmin came from that.
It's on the card, Tom.
It was supposed to be Super Mario 128.
It's on the
Gonna
card.
be like the
Wow.
weirdest.
I did not know that. I knew about 128. I did not know that.
What
Sure.
would have the original characters have been in the first Donkey Kong game? Because originally it was not Donkey Kong.
What do you mean? What would they have been?
Are you talking about the one from the 70s?
So the original Donkey Kong game was not
80s.
supposed to be a Donkey
80s.
Kong game. It was supposed to be
Well, I
another
would
game.
assume King Kong if I had to guess, but I don't know.
No.
Rampage? It's not Rampage.
No, it was based after a popular TV series.
I'm just trying to think of TV series with monkeys.
It has nothing. I'm gonna give you another hint.
All I can
It
think of
has
is that
nothing
Clint
to do with
Eastwood movie.
monkeys. Originally, no monkeys
With
involved.
Clyde. The orangutan.
I don't fucking know,
I
dude.
have no
All right.
idea, dude.
It was supposed to be a Popeye game. It was supposed to be Popeye, Olive Oil, and Bluto.
I actually, dude, there is. Do you guys remember those cartridges? Did you ever play one of those Nintendo cartridges that had like 100 something games on one cartridge?
Yes.
Okay.
Those are unlicensed, like
Yeah.
Tengen and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I brought one of those for my friend, and now that Shanee said that, there is a Popeye game that is just like Donkey Kong on there. I bet you it's that one.
Okay.
You eat the spinach and then you punch Bluto in his fat fucking face.
So like this whole time we could be playing Super Popeye Brothers.
He didn't have any brothers. He was an only child.
Bluto Kong Country.
That would actually be rad.
So
Bluto Kong. I like that.
Bluto Conga.
I figured to bookend our.
Wait,
our
did I
show-
win?
Yeah, you won. You got all the points, Tom.
If you let me finish. No. Since Tommy won,
Uh-huh.
yay, Tommy, and a superior brain.
Right.
If you are not watching this and just listening to it, Tommy looks very nonplussed about winning. I
I want to know what I won.
Well, I told you. Our last segment is going to be what are we going to play this week? And that's why I want to end our show on, is talking about what we're looking forward to playing next after the show.
So what do I win?
You can choose if you want to go first or last. It's a very small prize.
That's it.
And the fact that we have to say that you were right. Tommy was right.
Tommy was right, guys.
Tommy
I
was
really
right.
Gotta pee. Here.
Okay. So, well, then I'm going to let Ryan go first. so that he can go pee. Go ahead, Ryan.
What am I looking forward to playing after the show?
Yeah, the next
This
game
week,
you're gonna play.
What are you gonna be playing?
I'm probably playing more of that Fortnite. But actually, I think I'm gonna be mostly playing. I'm probably gonna play more Dragon Quest Builders because that game's pretty goddamn fun. I like that game a lot.
Good answer.
So I'm
You want me to move so you can pee?
Yeah, I'd love that,
You
man.
can go back here.
I'm gonna pee.
I'm gonna pee on the mic.
Okay, Shanae, you go ahead.
I'm probably since the new season of Game of Thrones has come out, I've been I never finished completely the Telltale Game of Thrones game. So it was free.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't buy it. I got it, and I paid that $0, and I've been playing that since the new episode's coming out tonight. Since we recorded this on Sundays, I'm probably gonna go and.
How far are you?
I got up to episode 4.
What are you playing on? PlayStation?
Yes, PlayStation.
You gonna platinum that bitch?
Probably.
They're easy platinums.
Yeah, they are. So replaying it. I've been doing it on. I'm on episode 3. I still have not gotten further than what I was because I've been. Because after I play that, I'm definitely gonna continue playing Persona 5.
As a fan of that show, how do you feel about that game?
Oh, I'm fine with it. The same way I think I mentioned before, I read a lot of books. So I watch, when I do watch the few movies that I watch, a lot of times it's stuff I already know.
Sure.
Or shows I already know generally about. So I like to seeing what they've done. I see it all as like kind of like a fan fiction sort of thing. Like, oh, this is like an alternate kind of version of it. The game fits in pretty well because it has characters from the main story. And it has areas that are like in the books and actually exist, but it's a family that is not talked about at all. So they're just expanding on the universe without affecting anything, and I like that because it just gives you a perspective of what lower lords and not the main characters are going through during the books and stuff. And it's fun to be like, hey, I know what's going on around you and you don't, and it's a fun thing. I like it.
That's cool. This week, I'm playing a lot of a game that I cannot talk about. So there's that. I'm also just started up the nice shiny PC port of Bayonetta.
Nice.
So playing around with that too.
I wouldn't mind giving that a gander
Yeah.
Hey,
before I leave.
Hi.
I'm back.
You are.
I
missed you.
I had to pee real bad, so I didn't get to tell you guys. I have another game that I'm playing that I'm going to be playing this week. It's going to actually be the next game that I do my check it out on.
Nice.
You guys ever play?
Well, leave it a secret. Leave it a secret. Don't spoil. Don't tease.
See you next week, guys.
Bye-bye.
You guys can find us on whatever app you're using at the moment, but also iTunes, Stitcher, Podomatic.
Can you get podcasts there? We're there.
That's not necessary.
I was talking to a coworker, and he uses 2 different podcast apps I've never even heard of.
Is it mostly true, Tom?
And we're on both of those.
That's because I put us on there. All right?
Yeah, he put us on the map, so thank him for that.
Thanks, Tom. We're also on YouTube's. You can also find us on Twitch. We stream every now and then.
Yes.
Not often.
Not often enough.
Not often enough. It's a thing that's in the works.
We hate it.
I like it. Tom hates it.
But yeah,
I hate you.
we love you.
YouTubes.com.
Thank you for listening.
Mm-hmm.
So bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.